So you're trying to buy a house, but you hear it can be competitive and sometimes frustrating. So what should your agent do to help get your offer accepted? Well, stay tuned. Today, I'm digging into the nuggets of what an agent should do to get your offer accepted. It's really important that you understand these 5 tips so that you make sure you find a good agent to be on your team and don't burn yourself out and get frustrated with offer after offer. Right? So let's talk about these tips that I've learned after being a listing agent and a successful buyer's agent, getting people into contract quickly. Just last week, I had a first-time buyer, get in contract with their first offer. So I tell you, these techniques are powerful. And stay tuned to the end because we're going to talk about one thing that most agents do not do, but could be the critical factor to getting your offer accepted. The first step is to start the research early. Your agent and you should be working through disclosures, communicating with the listing agent, and spending at least 2 days before offers are due or you write an offer preparing for this moment. The reason is there's several factors to communication: being recognized by the agent, setting the scene that you guys are prepared and that you are easy to work with. The second one that kind of goes hand in hand with number 1 is asking questions. Your agent should be calling the listing agent to ask details about when our offers are due. What is the seller looking for? Does the seller have special requests? Sometimes sellers have little things that maybe are not critical, but that could be making their life a lot easier. For example, they've left sheds or they've left some odd materials in the backyard and they have moved away already. They don't want to deal with the hassle of getting that removed. If you just say simply that you will handle that, that could be one little thing that makes them want to work with you more because it's going to make the process for them easier. Other questions to ask are going to be seller's expectation and price, maybe details about the reports and disclosures that maybe you need clarification on. All of those, again, set the scene from the listing agent that you're being thorough and really understanding the property and doing your best effort. If you like this information and find it valuable, please like this video while you're watching. Step number 3, again, kind of goes with number 1 and 2, but it's building rapport with the listing agent. It's really important that the listing agent knows the buyer's agent is going to be working and doing their job. I can tell you of several situations as a listing agent when the market wasn't quite as competitive. We didn't have a choice on which offer we accepted. The buyer's agent just wasn't really doing their job. The listing agent has to do a lot more work to get the buyer to close. And really, the whole point of a buyer's agent is to be guiding the buyer through those steps to make sure they're performing to the contract. So if the buyer's agent is not being thorough, not being professional, the listing agent doesn't really want to work with them. So can you see in a competitive market how the communication of your buyer's agent to the listing agent is going to be really important in setting the scene that this is going to be a great time to work through escrow together and bring this to a close. Teamwork in the entire process is really important. Teamwork between your buyer's agent and you, the buyer, teamwork between the buyer's agent and the listing agent, and then of course there's another team of the listing agent to the seller. So all of those communications are really important. One of the ways that I build rapport with the listing agent is just to touch base with them often. Check in on the number of offers they have, tell them about our offer process or our home search, talk about the lender and have them connect with details. Drop any little bits of the offer without revealing price or anything too competitive, that we are in a good position and to perk up the ears of the listing agent that we might have something good coming. Point number 4, make a clean, neat presentation of your offer. There are so many different ways for this to be done, and I can tell you, being a listing agent, I've had several properties this year come in with 10, 12 or more offers, and it's really obvious when you see 12 offers put side by side to see the differences on how one agent can be really neat in their presentation and another not at all. If you're working with anybody, a doctor or a dentist or anything, you probably want somebody who's going to be professional and do a thorough job for the job that you hired them for, right? Same thing as a buyer's agent and the view of the listing agent, right? The listing agent wants somebody who's going to do their job and be very professional and thorough. So if you're writing a sloppy offer, you're missing pieces, you're not doing things the listing agent requested, don't you think that's kind of going to discount your offer? Yes, absolutely. For example, some of the things that I do is making sure that your offer is neatly done, very thorough. We're not adding too many terms and conditions, making it simple and clean for the seller to understand. The second thing is putting in a cover letter about myself and about my client. client to really explain the research process or why we like this certain neighborhood, to understand that you are a strong, committed buyer. That's important. The next one is really building the financing picture, if you will. Making sure that the finance lender reaches out to them, make sure that they are presented as part of the team, and that they're connecting with the listing agent so the listing agent doesn't have any qualms about communicating about the loan or risks with the loan. All of that comes together very nice. And I will tell you one thing that is a lot of time when you have multiple offers is adding up proof of funds. I can't believe how many buyer's agents don't take the time to write down the proof of funds and summarize it for the agent. I mean, it's really not that hard, but one of the things that I will do is if there's multiple accounts, make sure I'm putting a summary at the top saying page 1 has 100,000, page 3 shows 350,000, and add up the total just so it's really clear what the proof of funds is. Also, on those summary pages of the statements, putting a red circle around the amount so they're not having to search throughout the page to find that actual number. Little techniques like that of preparation really make your offer stand out, clean, easy for the listing agent to read. Remember, the more thorough and clean and well presented and professional your offer comes across, the better impression it's going to have with the listing agent and the more willing they're going to want to work with you. So what about the tips I've shared so far do you like the most, or maybe find the most surprising? Comment below, please. So when I meet with clients, we're making sure that you really understand the process that we're going to do to work on your behalf. In the buyer consultation, we're going to go over all the different steps that we do to help you prepare an offer and make it stand out amongst competition. And even if there's no competition, I tell you those steps are really important to just make the process smoother and to be able to negotiate better. Okay, and the last point, number 5, as I promised, the one tip that is very uncommon for buyer's agents to do, but could be the crucial piece to get your offer accepted. You want to know what it is? Well, it's really, again, to the communication. One of the critical questions that I always ask when I talk to a listing agent is, if there's an offer deadline, when are you meeting your seller? If there's not an offer deadline, when do you think you can meet your seller? What I want to know is if there's multiple offers coming in, the agent then has a time to look at it, reach out to the lenders, gather all the information about the details of the offer, hopefully the listing agent is being that thorough. And sometimes there could be 2, 3, 5 hours before they actually meet the seller to discuss that. So what's really critical is, now that you've built rapport with the listing agent, is for your buyer's agent to reach out and say, hey, how does our offer look versus a competition? My clients are really motivated. Did we miss the point? Are we in position 2 or 3? Can we possibly change our offer before you meet the seller? Getting that information and communication is really, again, critical. Now, buying a home is quite a process, as you can tell. So if you're continuing to do your research, I think you should watch 2 videos next. The first one, not doing this correctly when shopping for homes could be bad. And the second one, should you still buy a house in San Jose in 2021?